welcome everyone here as part of our official business. I will call our work session to order and want to thank everyone for coming to this very special occasion as we honor some of our veterans. I think you will see in Hall County Schools we pay a lot of attention to our veterans, that we honor our veterans and do a big celebration during Veterans Day, because our kids need to know about the importance and the sacrifice for what y'all done to provide us a free country and defend our country. So if you would, please rise for the presentation of flag. I'll introduce myself. I'm Nathan Morris, the chairman of the Hall County Board of Education. I'd also like to introduce our other board members, Mr. Sam Chapman, who's also a veteran, Mr. Bill Thompson, Mr. Brian Sloan, and Mr. Craig Harrington. Now I'd like to introduce Superintendent of Schools, Will Schofield.
Well, good evening. Good evening. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, as special as this event was, that was about a 7. Good evening. Good evening. Gentlemen, we salute you. Join me in giving these men a round of applause. What an honor it is for your Hall County School District to have the privilege of awarding these 5 gentlemen who had foreign war service Hall County School District diplomas. As we begin, I can't even begin to list all of the individuals that have had a hand in this event today, so I'm not going to try. But suffice it to say, both within and outside of our organization, this is a community celebration today. And again, this celebration belongs to this entire community. Also, as we go through this service today, I would ask each and every one of you, if you know a veteran of a foreign war that may be able to take advantage of this incredible honor, please let them know. And please let us know. This is not our first ceremony of this kind, and I know I can speak on behalf of this Board of Education that this will not be our last ceremony of this kind. You know, there's several takeaways from today's ceremony. But I just wanted to highlight three that I hope and that I pray we do not miss today. Number one, I thank this Board of Education. For this Board of Education remembers, in a day and age when it's often forgotten, that our schools belong to this community. And that it is our school's duty to honor everyone at any age, to hold them up and honor service and sacrifice every opportunity that we get. Next, young people today are not unusual or unique. For throughout history, I guess young folks have always looked for heroes, people that they could put on a pedestal and hold up. But having worked almost 30 years in public schools and caring a great deal for the 30,000 boys and girls that we serve, could I suggest that this current generation has a desperate need to be reminded that Justin Bieber and Lady Gaga are not heroes. These five gentlemen that we honor today are. For you see, heroes are everyday men and women who, out of the overflow of their own personal character, endure great sacrifice and place service to others above themselves. And we, adults of this community, need to take every opportunity that we have to point out to the next generation that there are true North heroes, that there are individuals amongst us like these five gentlemen. And finally, it was Abraham Lincoln in his second inaugural address that reminded us to act in a manner that demonstrates malice towards none and charity towards all. He went on to be thankful for those who had borne the battle and suggested it was our duty to care for them and for their widows and for their orphans. These gentlemen have indeed borne the battle for you and for me, and while we sleep safely in our beds and enjoy the freedoms that we have, it is men and women like these five that have paid the price so that we have that privilege. Again, would you join me in thanking these five men for their service to their country? Mr. Butterworth, along with being a dear friend, is the former Adjutant General of the Georgia National Guard, and he is the current Director of Georgia's Homeland Security and Emergency Management Agency. He was commissioned through Air Force ROTC at the University of Georgia, and he has accumulated more than 11,000 flight hours between his military service, civilian flying, and his career as a pilot for Delta Airlines. In his military service, it included assignments at Columbus Air Force Base, Mississippi, as a T-38 pilot instructor, service at Dover Air Force Base, Delaware, and as a C-5 pilot. He also had service in Georgia's own 116th Bomb Wing as a B-1B aircraft commander and flight lead. Mr. Butterworth and his family live in Habersham County. They attend church here in Gainesville. He and his wife Amy have 4 beautiful children. And would you help me in welcoming Jim Butterworth?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is really cool. Thank you for the vision. Things like this, like Will mentioned, hope I can call you Will, Mr. Schofield mentioned, there are a lot of, you don't really exactly know where it started. And you all probably know more than any of us need to know. But the vision of making something like today happen is extremely special. It's special for a number of reasons. One of them being that we have inherited our freedom. We have inherited life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We take it for granted, without question. But we are generally happy. We think we have challenges, but I can promise you that these five gentlemen can talk about some challenges. They can talk about some burdens. And it definitely would put in check all of those thoughts that we have of what we think are challenges.
I have 3 points to make, and I promised I would be brief. That's what I told Mr. Schofield. The first piece of business, as soon as Will mentioned this opportunity to me, I let the governor know that you all were doing this, and the governor said, I want to send a letter. And he said, I want to send a letter to all 5 gentlemen. So each one of you will receive this letter, but I want everybody else to understand what the governor passed along to these 5 gentlemen. Greetings. Demonstrating the courage required to put country first, you enlisted in the United States Armed Services, suspending your high school studies to serve our nation. As governor, it gives me great pleasure to join your family and friends in congratulating you on receiving your high school diploma from the Hall County District Board of Education. Having served, I understand the sacrifice you have given to our country. The freedoms and liberties we are blessed to enjoy are a direct result of your service and sacrifice. Your record of conduct, performance, and devotion to duty reflect your allegiance to the highest standard of the military profession. It is that kind of ardent patriotism that makes the United States the beacon of democracy and liberty for the rest of the world to follow. On behalf of the grateful state and nation, I thank you for your service. I count you amongst some of our nation's most honorable and upstanding citizens, and I wish you so much success in the years ahead. And it's signed sincerely, David Deal, Governor of Georgia. As these individuals, as these fine, upstanding individuals, members of our society, who were engaged in high school, engaged in the different parts of growing up in their teen years, began to realize that their country, at the particular time, whether it was during World War II, during Vietnam, decided that there was a greater calling, that there was a purpose, that God had planned for them, and they decided that it was time to put normal parts of life aside. I want you all to understand, and this kind of follows on what Bill was talking about a little while ago, with the fact that we had inherited our freedoms. This follows along in the same manner. Very quickly, I'm sure, when they signed up in the military, one of the first things that somebody, probably a drill sergeant, began to put in front of them was a thing called the American Fighting Man's Code of Conduct. I'm sure you all remember that. The American Fighting Man's Code of Conduct. It talks about being an American fighting man. It says, I am an American fighting man. I'm willing to give my life in defense of my country and our way of life. Those are the first 2 sentences of the Code of Conduct. So these individuals that were 1 week extremely happy to be engaged in living in the United States and in Hall County, but all of a sudden decided it was time to go sign up and go to war. And all of a sudden they realized that not only did they just sign up to go to war, but somebody was telling them that it's their duty to give their life if necessary. There was no hesitation. As we know, as we see, there was no hesitation, and that service continued. And we thank you for that. We have inherited the world that we live in here in the United States, in this community, in all counties in New York. And we live those freedoms thanks to these gentlemen. John Stuart Mill lived in the middle 1800s of the 19th century. He lived in England, but he was very familiar with the world wrote at that time, something that he wrote was very applicable to what these gentlemen experienced. It started out along the lines of war is an ugly thing, but not the ugliest of things. The decayed and degraded state of moral and patriotic feeling that feels like nothing is worth war is much worse. So that's what John Stuart Mill wrote. Basically saying that war, while being ugly, is necessary, and we can't allow that to come to pass, to not understand that. He further wrote that the idea that individuals would place their own personal value, personal safety above fighting for something, whatever that may be, whether that's laying down high school studies and taking up arms, whatever that may be, is, and in John Stuart Mill's terms, he wrote that was a miserable individual that had nothing worth fighting for. He further wrote, though, and this is neat to understand this for today, that people like that, individuals like that, this is again from the 1800s in England, had to be protected by better men, and we can throw in 21st century and women, by better men and women than themselves. So John Stuart Mill got it a long time ago, and these five gentlemen get it even more so, and they exemplify that idea. Our liberties, our safety must be protected by someone, and these five individuals who are heroes truly exemplify that. I'll finish up by telling you a very quick quote from Calvin Coolidge. When he was being confirmed as a vice presidential candidate in 1920, he made the comment that the nation that forgets its defenders will soon itself be forgotten. Now in 1920, that was just after World War I, which was also known as the War to End All Wars, had just ended on the 11th of November, 1918. 11th of November, as we understand and remember now, we know that to be a day that we call a timeout in Memorial Day, also called Armistice Day. Calvin Coolidge understood that, and he said that we cannot forget our defenders in order for life, liberty, and happiness to be perpetuated in these great United States. So having said all of that, gentlemen, you have carried an incredible burden. You exemplify an amazing legacy, and a community has come together to tell you thank you. To these folks, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Schofield. More importantly, thank you for your service. Have a great evening.
If I could get our four gentlemen who are present to come up here and sit down on the front bench here. And Hannah, if you'd come up here. Quentin Cable, our fifth honoree, could not be with us today. His wife is actually having surgery, but his granddaughter is going to receive his award. By the way, for family members, for anybody else who is interested, we're going to stay as long as it takes. We'll stay till midnight. We're going to take some great pictures afterwards. We're also going to take some great pictures as a school district and make those available. But there's wonderful reception out in the, I can't remember the fancy word for it, I call it the entryway, out in the porch. And afterwards we'll have cake and nuts and punch. And again, please stay, please come back up and we'll get some great pictures afterwards. But this is our opportunity for your local Board of Education to present these diplomas to these special gentlemen. Mr. Sam Chapman, would you come forward, please? And Mr. John Smallwood, would you come forward, please? John Smallwood, United States Army, World War II veteran. John served as a T5 of the 3rd Army, 4th Armored Division in Europe and France, Germany, Austria, Poland, and Czechoslovakia. He was a tank commander. He also was retired from General Motors after 36 years. And John is the proud father of 2, grandfather of 1. Congratulations, Mr. John Smallwood. Bill Thompson, would you come forward? And Mr. Horace Smallwood, would you come forward, please? Horace Smallwood, United States Army, World War II. Served as private first class in the Army at Madigan Army Medical Center in Washington State, caring for and aiding our wounded soldiers. He also was associated with the Hall County School District for many years. He was a trustee for Riverbend Elementary School. His late wife worked in the central office until she retired in 1991. He started his own business in '68 and ran it until '89, continued working and teaching Scott how to do it right until 2015. He's the proud father of 4, grandfather of 7, great-grandfather of 3, Mr. Horace Smallwood.
Thank you very much. You're very welcome, sir.
Craig Harrington, Howell Smallwood,
You'll have to bear with me. I got 3 broke backbones they can't fix, and I have to be real careful in my movements.
Mr. Howell Smallwood, United States Navy. Howell served in the Atlantic Theater on PT boats in Squadron 17. He also worked back in Hall County in the tax office for 16 years, and he was Hall County's first tax commissioner. He was then hired by the hospital, now called Northeast Georgia Medical Center, and worked there for 23 years until he retired in '86. He's also been a preacher of the gospel for 65 years, and his last church was Pleasant Hill Baptist Church in Lumpkin County. Howell is the proud father of 3, grandfather of 4, and the great-grandfather of 8. Mr. Howell Smallwood, USA.
If you allow me to, I would like to make a short statement. There was 4 of us boys that was in the service, and it's sad that our oldest brother, he went in the service when he was supposed to be back in a year, but he didn't make it back till about 7 years, I believe it was, before they let him out. Now, we're the children that were raised by our mother. Our father left us when I was about 10 years old. And my mother done an extremely well job. She spent most of their time on her knees while we was away from home. And I can't say enough for how wonderful my mother was. Now, I joined the Navy out of high school. I didn't, like the little while I've been, I didn't graduate with my class. But I kind of like, now, God's been good to us, me and John and Horace all. God's took care of us, and we're not hurting. We're kind of like the man that he didn't finish high school, and he saw an ad in the paper where the First Church had an opening for a janitor. He went for that job and they turned him down. He went on in life as we did. He went on and made the right decisions, and he made millions. And when they got him to make a talk about how he made the millions, and they said, what would you have been had you finished high school? He said, I would have been the janitor at the first church. So I'd like to tell you that God has took care of us because my mama prayed. And we thank you all for being here. I had no idea that it's going to be like this. I've got one suit, and Horace and we decided we'd go kind of like we went to school. So we appreciate all of you. I've got some very special friends here that I appreciate so much. And my relatives, they come first. So I thank you for this opportunity. And as one general I talked to down in Tampa, Florida, my nephew that I raised from a 10-year-old till he got out of school, and he's made a pretty good fortune. And he was having breakfast with a general, I can't remember what his name was. He's an Army general. And he asked me if didn't you worry about these boys going over the ground, having to crawl under guns and all of this? And I said, yeah. I cried every night because I had a good warm bed to sleep in, and I had 3 meals a day. Sometimes it'd be a little short, but we had enough to, I guess you see what we are. I thank you so much for being here. May God bless each one of you. Give you everything that you want. Not everything you want, but everything you need. God, give it to you. That's my prayer. Thank you so much.
I was actually going to go down and ask all 5 of these individuals if they had anything to say after, but I know when my better shows me I've got it in the wrong order. So Horace, would you have anything you'd like to say to this incredible crowd that honors you today? And
well, I'll try not to be as long-winded as you. Thank everybody for coming. I love you, and I'll see you.
I'm a preacher.
I want to tell the school board, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, your busy schedule, what you did for us today. I understand that you're in negotiation for extension of 3 years with Dr. Schofield for his job. I mean, I'm sorry.
he just got me a raise.
Will Schofield for his job for 3 years extension. I don't think he deserves it. I think with the way our school system is going, the way it's been run, I think he ought to have a lifetime extension.
John?
Well, Horace beat me to it. He said about what I was going to say. Except one thing I would tell you about Brother Howell. He was on a PT boat, and if you recall, we had a great man on 109. Washington was looking for someone that served on a PT boat, and they tried to get Hal, and he wouldn't go. That's just a rumor I heard. thank you so much for this.
Thank you, John. Mr. Brian Sloan. Larry Lee Satterfield. United States Army. Larry served in Vietnam, and Larry received the Bronze Star, the Vietnam Service Medal with 4 Bronze Service Stars, and the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry with a Bronze Star and Palm. Larry also participated in training at Fort Bliss, Texas, served at Fort Lewis and Washington State, and did significant leadership training in the state of New Mexico. Larry is the proud father of 2 sons and 2 grandchildren. Mr. Larry Lee Satterfield.
Thank all county school boards, and I appreciate this. It means a lot to me. It means the world to me.
We're honored that you'd be with us today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Talked to Quentin Cable less than an hour ago. His wife was just out of surgery. She's doing very well, thank you. But Mr. Nate Morris, would you come forward? And Quentin Cable's granddaughter, someone I know quite well, Hannah Cable Schofield, would you come forward? Quentin Cable, Quentin Thomas Cable, United States Air Force, Vietnam War. Gave 23 years of service and retired from the United States Air Force. Did 2 tours in Southeast Asia, 1 in Thailand, 1 in Vietnam. He also did 3 tours of duty at the same base for 9 years in the United Kingdom, and had temporary duty assignments in other overseas locations, a few being Germany, Belgium, Casablanca, Spain, and Scotland. Upon retirement, Quentin worked for the National Weather Service as a Doppler radar system specialist in Atlanta, Athens, and Beaufort. He's the father of 4, grandfather of 5, great-grandfather of 3. On behalf of Quentin Cable, his granddaughter, Hannah Schofield. Her grandfather is concise and said, if you say something, keep it short. So.
Good evening. My name is Hannah Cable Schofield, and I'm very proud of my grandfather, and I'm very thankful for his service to my country. And on his behalf, I'd like to thank the Board of Education for making this possible tonight. So thank you very much.
No graduation would be complete without some pomp and circumstance. These individuals, please remain seated. Could the rest of us rise as our North Hall brass group plays for us pomp and circumstance. and the privilege to preside over somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 graduations in my career, and none is any more special than what we just witnessed right here. Thank you for being here. Again, family, please make yourselves at home. Let's get all the pictures we want up here with General Butterworth and the board, anything that you would like. Also, please stay with us. We've got a beautiful cake and some refreshments out in the front.